Alright, so we got that Splatoon 2 Direct, and people were expecting a video pretty soon about my thoughts on it. And I figured, instead of just having me alone, I'd get some other people to join me. So today I actually have Bryan and Tetsu, who are on my team and are my teammates. So say hello, Bryan and Tetsu.
Hey, how's it going, Bryan?
Hey, I'm Tetsu. What's up?
Alright, so basically we're gonna start out by having the direct play. We're gonna be watching it ourselves. And then we're gonna give our commentary over things as they get shown off. This is probably not the best way to watch the direct if you haven't seen it before, because we will 100% be talking over everything. And then after the direct is over, we're still going to be continuing to give thoughts on things like the weapons and so on. So I guess you can go ahead and start the video.
Yeah, alright.
Oh, hi there. We of the Squid Lab have returned to present our latest findings. So, buckle up and keep your tentacles inside the vehicle at all times.
Always found this announcer interesting.
Squid species with its amazing abilities. To shoot ink in humanoid form.
Not much to say in the beginning.
Yeah, it's like there really isn't too much to say. It's just like
I think
pointing out
it's
the
for the
obvious.
new people that haven't played the first game.
Yeah, I'm here for the music.
The ceremonial turf war is one such sport, in which two squid squads of 4 see which team can cover the most turf with ink. This popular tradition isn't going anywhere, which remains
Is the fact that it says isn't going anywhere, I'm not sure if that's in reference that they're not going to give up on the series.
and ultimate bragging rights.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Ultimate
They can.
bragging rights.
It was pretty much the first game was a complete experiment for Nintendo, and it ended up doing way better than they actually thought it was gonna do.
Yeah.
It essentially sold the system.
Yep, pretty much. Like between this game and Smash, like it was a very good success for the Wii U. It's just too bad it was on like a unsuccessful console. Otherwise, it could have done a lot better.
So the more like the fact that you can make things more customized with the characters is interesting. I actually like this. The one thing I did notice that was kind of weird is there's the option to choose a skirt if you're the girls, but you still wear pants. So
Oh yeah, like leggings under.
yeah,
Same with like the boys. If you choose to wear shorts, you can like short shorts. You get leggings.
yeah, it's kind of weird.
It is a Nintendo game after all.
Dude, I love the new fucking Plaza. It's so good.
Yeah, it's I think it's bigger than the Plaza. I already spent like maybe half an hour just walking around it in the demo, but it definitely seems like it's bigger. There's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot more exploration to it.
I love Flow. Flow is like one of my favorites.
I've noticed that a lot of the main abilities are shared. Like
Yeah.
the straw boater here has the same main ability. The backwards cap had the same ability. I think it's just like certain things are getting swapped with whatever the new ability is. Like the Tekaroka mesh is now sub defense, which makes sense, seeing as defense is no longer a thing. And
We
then
also swap a lot of damage gear too, since damage up is gone.
yeah,
Rest in peace.
Yep. Rip me.
They're probably gonna be like object shredder or something like some of them.
yeah, stuff
Probably.
like that. They're gonna be replaced.
I
like that.
honestly hope not, but
I'm curious is if the brands will still favor the same things. Like that
I
shirt that
think
was
it-
cold-blooded with Rockenberg. I wonder if it's still gonna be run speed.
Yeah.
I think it will be.
Fucking Bisque.
This dude is like
Loosen up, duder.
amazing dialogue. Oh my god, this was such an important change
Right.
to be able to speed up his text.
I love how they mentioned it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. If only this was present in S Plus speedruns.
If only you could tune out his weapon dissertations with the press of a button. Well, now you can. Sheldon's really outdone himself.
ZR, stop.
Stop. You good stuff.
Okay, here we go.
This is where we're actually going to be really speaking. Okay, so the Splattershot expected. This kit didn't really change. I also mentioned in your stream yesterday that the Mini shares the kit with the Splattershot.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's the dualies that it shares the kit with.
Oh, I see.
The dualies got switched to Burst Bomb Tenta Missiles. So it shares a kit with the dualie, which is actually better because the Mini has... In comparison, I feel like the Mini will be a huge step up in comparison to the dualies.
Yeah, for sure.
The testing range is...
That means the second dualie's got the, I think it got the Test Fire kit, which is the, Curling Bomb, Inkjet.
I didn't pay too much attention to that. I didn't look at it all that much.
Because it did show off a second dualie's kit. Not the Dapple dualies. We still don't know the kit on the Dapple dualies yet, but...
This new testing range, god tier. This
Right.
is amazing. Just like standing still targets and then mobile targets and then having more space to mess around in is
Yeah.
really needed.
When I'm looking at the blaster, I feel like the regular blaster shoots just as slow as the custom range blaster.
Yeah, it looks like it's slowed down. Also, the fact that the blaster basically now is like, I feel because damage and defense are gone, blasters are gonna kind of slightly fall off because a far indirect will make you have to 3-shot.
Yeah, because like a close indirect's barely 50.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say what I think about the blasters when the Clash Blaster comes up. Oh, here it is right now. I think this is a neat blaster. It's seems like it has a faster fire rate than both the Rapid and the Luna.
Yeah, way.
But I don't know how much damage it'll actually do. Like, I almost want to say it'll probably do less than the Rapid.
And
Cause
this roller is a good fix to the carbon. I feel like the carbon is in fact gone, and this is its replacement.
Yeah, same.
And it's a good middle ground for it.
not being able to jump and do the super quick flick with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the Goo Tuber is really underwhelming.
Yeah, I feel like I mentioned it yesterday, they're trying so hard to push a gimmick that won't be used. Like, maybe low ranks will find this cool, but the higher you go in ranks, no one's going to use an unscope.
Yeah. Dapple Doolies are lit. I think I like them because they move really fast.
Yeah, this is a weapon I really want to try out.
I'm just curious as to how it stacks up. Like, I mentioned yesterday, it has to have something like shorter range. Otherwise, why would you use the vanilla?
Yeah.
I think the roll distance is shorter.
Well, yeah, it's shorter, but like that, I don't feel like that would make too big of a difference to make.
Like, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a third version of the dualies that give you a really long roll range, but you have a lot longer cooldown in between rolls.
I honestly think auto bombs are a really, really weak sub weapon.
Yeah,
And again,
they're definitely underwhelming for what they could have been. Like I've mentioned, all they really had to do was make it so it worked like a point sensor, and that would fix the problems that I had with it. But they couldn't even do that for me. I also think it's interesting that they had to specifically point out that all the specials are brand new.
Right.
Yep.
Oh, and I don't think this was brought up in the Direct, but each weapons have their own individual meter requirement now. So instead of certain specials having a meter requirement, now each weapon has its own requirement. So it's not like Tenta missiles are always going to be like 160p. Some weapons will get it at 180, some weapons will get it at 160, some will get it at 130, and so on. And I thought that was a good way to sort of fix that, because some weapons are going to build it faster, some weapons are going to build it slower, and that kind of aids that whole thing.
Yeah. Inkstorm looks pretty funny. It doesn't seem like it inks that much, to be honest. Like,
it seems more of a crowd control.
yeah, it's like, get out of there. Bomb launcher, there's a lot less bombs being sent out.
Yeah, and it makes you like you lose the mobility. This is something interesting. So people were saying that ink armor is going to be the new panic button, but the thing is, it saves you from one shot. And then the baller here, Nintendo of America freaked people out because after the Direct, they tweeted out that the baller is indestructible,
Yeah.
which was immediately contradicted by the game itself, saying that it protects you from a certain amount of damage.
Yep.
So, it's not an invincibility per se, but, you know, Nintendo of America has to scare people.
I almost want to say that what it does after you shoot it enough times that it explodes on its own.
I would think maybe after what will happen is when you shoot it, instead of it filling in your own ink, it fills in their ink, and once it gets to the top, it pops and kills you.
Yeah.
Like it pops with the enemy ink rather than your own ink. But I want to jump back a second because they're just showing off maps. So, the ink armor, they said that it will affect your teammates no matter where they are. I want to know if there really is a distance to that. Like, could you be in their spawn? I can be in our spawn. I can use it and you'll get it.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I want to know. Port Mackerel coming back, I don't have a problem with that because the map is looks more open.
It got a drastic change, like even so more than Moray, to be honest.
It got fixed. That's the thing. Port Mackerel got fixed.
Also, Silver, it says in the ink armor description, and the game works on all team members regardless of proximity.
Oh, so yeah, that'll be interesting. It definitely won't be the panic button that I see people on Twitter saying it's going to be, but I could definitely see it being useful for certain things. It's going to benefit certain matchups more than others. Like, say, a Dynamo normally has to kill you with one flick. Well, what if you pop the ink armor as they're starting their flick?
Yeah.
Then they have to flick at you twice. But, you know, with their long kill time, by that point they're probably just going to be punished for it anyway.
Yeah, and Chargers get
the only problem with it being a quote-unquote panic button, though, is that it has a startup. It has like a half-second startup time.
Yeah.
So it's not specifically a panic button if you're getting shot at. So.
Well, then I also want to know some of these specials. Like, what is special power up gonna do for them? Like, would special power up make ink armor take another shot, or would make
I thought they said that it protects you for a certain amount of time. Like, eventually it does go away. So probably just increases the duration of it, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd say duration of it.
Okay, so here, they talk about the ranks and how you'll be able to skip ranks. Like that person went from C+ to A-.
Mm-hmm.
That's I mentioned that it seems kind of annoying and like unfair, but I was quickly like told that it's probably a way to protect the lower ranks from people that were good in Splatoon 1. Like, instead of playing through, like, having new players to Splatoon 2, playing through the low ranks and having to face people that played Splatoon 1 at a high level, now the people that played Splatoon 1 will instantly get pushed up into their higher ranks immediately.
Yeah, and I'm thinking it's going to be like a one-time thing. Like, you can't just keep skipping ranks or anything like that. Like, it's just going to be like one rank skip and then you just go on from there.
Or, like, there's probably a certain rank. Probably an A rank you probably can't skip anymore. It's probably just for lower ranks.
Yeah, from like... I think it go up to A+, like, or just A, yeah.
Switching gears a bit, I think this right here is probably one of the best changes between the two games. The ability to manually put in what abilities you want on your gear. Because it removes a luck factor of it.
Also, speaking of like thermal ink, like it seems pretty good, but like I think it's only when you have ink on your opponent. So if they go into squid form, they might just like not be marked again. So, but if like a weapon like a Splatling just launches multiple shots at him, it's going to be pretty hard.
Yeah, it's going to thermal ink will be good for weapons that just output ink without like really trying to hit. Like Dynamo and Splatlings, it's going to be really good for.
Yeah.
So some of these abilities, like the respawn punish, It's, in theory, it sounds like that's something people are going to stack a lot of, which, I mean, you can't, it's a main exclusive thing, but it also punishes you. And I don't think that was really emphasized that well, but it does affect you as well. So if you run respawn punish, you also get the effects of it. So it's basically reserved for people that can slay and not die. And here we get to learn that it's 10 chunks to get something, and you get 1 chunk per sub, so, I mean, that's not too much grinding, I guess. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
It could be worse. It could require you to get like 50 or something. That'd be pretty
Yeah.
bad. But 10, I actually think I guessed 10 in a while back that it was going to be 10. So, and Salmon Run, we actually get to see here, I guess, like, it's the schedule at the bottom there shows how, like, relatively frequent it is.
Yeah.
And
I think that might just be for like opening, but like it looks like it's gonna be like every weekend. It's gonna be like a few hours, or that one's just gonna be 24 hours.
Yeah, it's a whole day, which is good, because I was expecting it to be like an hour or 2, but seeing that it's going to be a whole day, that's good. I just wonder if you're going to be forced into a certain intensity level, or if we could change
I
the
don't think
intensity.
so. I'm sure you can change it.
Because I know you can in LAN, but will we be able to do it online? Because what I feel like is going to happen is it's going to start at a low level, and you have to continuously clear it to get the higher ones. You won't be able to like choose it. You have to constantly clear to get the higher ones. And they actually, in a recent thing, they actually talked about the intensity level, and they were asked. The dev team was actually asked if anyone, like any of the developers, had finished Salmon Run at 100%, and they were like, "Oh yeah, a couple of them have." But I'll tell you what they haven't done. They haven't cleared it at 200%. And people are like, wait, what? It's like, yeah, after you clear 100%, then you unlock 105%, and then you have to clear that to get 110%.
That's gonna be really fun to do, honestly.
To be honest, though, I think a lot more experienced players in the game who know how to like maneuver and stuff like. I think it's gonna be a lot easier for them.
Yeah, well, the thing that's, I guess, what's going to pose a challenge is the restricted weapons.
Yeah. Also, I found Splatling 2 like really, like the interface and stuff like that, and like the stuff you can do with it really cool. Like checking your stats and shit like that.
This is a lot better than, like, this is essentially everything that people wanted, and people created other things for. Like, this data on how well you performed in a match, that's what Ecolog was created for, was to do this kind of stuff. And now it's official, it's part of the game, you can do this yourself without having an external program. Now this whole thing, like, inking equivalent to X thing in the world, like right here, it's like this amount of ink will cover the Great Pyramid of Giza. It's like, I don't really get that. That's like, okay.
Also,
I think it's just a little nice touch, you know, that little Nintendo touch.
I was noticing that you can order gear with different main abilities from here.
Yeah,
So, like,
you'll be able to use the app to purchase gear while you're away, and there's a chance that it could have a different main ability.
Yeah. That'd be really cool. Like, did you see? The thing is, like, I'm not sure if it will like replace like the one you have already.
Oh yeah, will it act as a new like hat, shirt, whatever?
But I can see that as a way to like farm chunks.
Yeah. And here they show off the whole joining the lobbyist, which we already kind of knew how that was going to work from a previous interview. So basically you just generate an invite, and you open the invite, and then you go into the game and choose join lobby.
Yeah.
And then this was like the sensitivity thing. I don't feel like really. It's like, okay, I'm pretty sure the test fire had that, but whatever. It's not like I'm going to be playing this game in handheld mode anyway. The amiibo stuff was also previously gone over, so I don't really care too much for this. The whole idea of bringing your gear over into someone else's game, in theory, sounds good, but for LANs and stuff, people are just going to be bringing their own Switches anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Splatoon 2 series amiibo will be available.
But I feel like if there's like if you can't it's like a major tournament, like you can't bring your Switch, then yeah, this would be helpful.
Yeah, but then you'd be locked into one thing unless you had multiple amiibo.
Yeah. Pay to win.
Yeah.
You can post to some of your social media sites too. Science truly is Squid's best friend.
They show off the replacement to the amiibo, or Miiverse rather. And
Yeah.
here we get to see you can buy food, and this is solely for level experience and money. This won't affect your rank. I already looked at some of it. Like, that was the first thing I went and looked into when I had the demo. I saw that it only affects your money and level, not rank points.
I honestly hope that the shoal actually updates with the game.
It would have to because you actually play actual private battles and salmon run levels. So
Yeah, I know.
it would have to be updated alongside the game.
I'm just like poking fun of the fact that Splatoon 1, like the battle
Battle.
dojo's still in 1.0, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it is. You can
It
still
is.
play the original Underpass. Everything works as the way it did in the original 1.0.
Yep.
I mean,
It's funny.
single player is also like that. Everything in single player function as it did in 1.0.
It's whack.
You can go into single player right now and get the original Inkzuka.
Yeah, I was thinking of doing that later today. I thought that looked really cool, reminded me of Sonic.
Wow.
I don't really care too much for the story mode, just because it's like the point of it is to learn how to play, and that's something I
Yeah.
already know how to do. I just want to know if there's like a real incentive to play story mode.
I
You
think
probably
it's
unlock
weapons.
weapons through
Yeah.
it.
Also, oh, yeah,
It is in the original game. That is how you unlock the dynamo and the kelp splatter scope.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what I'm really excited for. A different class of weapon, pretty much,
This is
like
an
a brand new
interesting
class.
design.
It's legit the penguin from Batman.
It actually looks
Shot-
like it has pretty decent range too.
Yeah. Only thing I see is like it's his
Like, you
hitting
can see
area.
this. You can see him kill this guy from a pretty decent distance. Like do like a 2-shot.
Yeah, it's a 2-shot shotgun.
This
This is-
one's
this is-
also really interesting. I wonder if you can control where the bubbles go or not.
Yeah.
There's like some showed up like farther away. I wonder if you control that at all. This looks cool. The idea of playing on a boat, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think that's just an underground like, just place.
An underpass.
Yeah, an underpass.
It's
Basically.
underneath Hammerhead Bridge.
Really?
I don't know. I'm just making a guess.
Watch it be.
But what is a Splatfest anyway? I'm sure some of you know that.
I'm not really a fan of Splatfest, mostly because I get tired of Turf War after a while. But
Yeah.
also, yeah. The only thing I like about it is like aesthetic. It looks really cool.
I like looking at maps at night. It's in the first game. It was really cool. A lot of maps that really look really good at night. Like Moray Towers actually looked pretty decent at night.
I liked Camp. It looked cool.
I
Yeah.
liked Walleye.
Oh,
I,
yeah, wow,
I still found it funny that even at night, Resort was still the brightest map.
Right.
I had this little video for you. I don't know how or why it exists, and yet here it is.
I don't know why or how it exists. Now, this was something I mean, I kind of figured that they would have to have someone else that handles the news and such, but was not expecting something like this.
Wait, was he implying that he took the video himself? I'm pretty sure.
I don't know.
Yeah. I know there's like lots of fan debates between Marina and Pearl. Like, and if you ask me to be honest, I like both of them. I don't really mind any of them,
Same.
and I'm not gonna be like, "Yo, Marina Master Race" or anything like that. It's
Yeah,
not
I
my
didn't even
style.
do that for like the first game. I don't even care.
Dude, I didn't know who I didn't know the difference between Cali and Marie till the Splatfest over them. I just knew them as the green one and the purple one.
Well, the one thing, I guess, like, the only real takeaway that I didn't see a lot of people noticing is that Marina is an Octoling.
Yeah.
Which is weird to see, like, they're supposed to be, like, the enemy, and yet here she is.
It's a friendly Octoling. Also, that flash of Spike right there, and that... Yeah, if you go in the demo, you can find him just chilling in this coffee shop. Next to the lobby.
Sitting at a laptop.
Yeah. Loser.
A list of all the people that he scummed.
All his clients.
He got screwed out of his business with Splat hacks, so now he's got to work on something else.
Yep.
He's looking for a job. I like to point out, they showed the title screen there. In the corner it said version 1.2. So the game won't even launch with version 1.0.
Or maybe it's going to be 1.0, but they just already have 1.2 now.
Day 1 patch.
Day 1 patch. Yeah, but I find these characters interesting. They're not like really static like Callie and Marie really were. With their... I don't know.
That's something Nintendo has always been pretty good at, though, is making unique characters.
They have more flashy designs. Like, I mentioned it yesterday, that I felt like Callie and Marie's outfits were basically just like, they look like they should be something you had in the game, not so much like freaky and like elegant and something that stood out. But yeah, so they announced that there's going to be a Splatfest test fire, which I don't think anyone really expected. I actually got called out on Twitter because I said, what if they announced another test fire, and people were telling me to stop and saying that I shouldn't say that. It's like I'm an idiot. I think I was even called retarded by one person. And I was also called retarded when I said that they were going to show off new stuff, which was hilarious. And then it turned out like 99% of this direct is new. So yeah, and then NA and EU have the same Splatfest, and will probably, from what I was told, they actually occur at different times though. And then Japan has their own one, and we actually plan to play both the Japanese one and the North American one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was the direct. So I guess now let's jump over to some of the weapons. I do have it up on a different tab. So I'm just going to go off some of the weapons that we see and go with their kits, and we'll give our thoughts. So obviously the normal Splat dualies will have burst bomb and 10 missiles. That's different from the test fire where they had curling bomb and inkjet. And
they still actually have that though as another version of the dualies.
Yeah, we do see another variant of it in this screenshot I have, which if I were to use the dualies, that'd probably be the one I use, because I still think curling bomb was a good suggestion on it. Like, that was a really good sub for it.
I think people just need to get used to the inkjet. Like, people just need to know how it controls and stuff, because it is kind of awkward to control at first, because you actually stay at a fixed elevation. Like, say like you're on like the same elevation, you pretty much you can alter it by quote unquote jumping. Like, you press the jump button, you actually go slightly higher for like half a second, but that's all the control you really have over its height. You can't just hover like super high up above like an enemy or something, just fire shots down and up. No, you can't do that.
It adds a fixed value to your Y coordinates. That's pretty much all it does.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
So then we have the heavy Splatling, which has Sprinkler and Stingray, which we already knew about from the E3 thing. I don't think... Like, people said the Sprinkler was good for the remix. And I could see this being good for the heavy, but the heavy already outputs a lot of ink itself. So I don't really see the Sprinkler doing too much for it. It worked well on the remix because it helped the remix output whales, and whales are the cheapest special in Splatoon 1. Where with this, because weapon or special is going to be dependent on the weapon, not the special, I don't know how. Like, I'd imagine Stingray is probably going to be pretty expensive on the heavy.
You think? Because I don't know. I still think. Oh, there's echo. I still think that the sprinkler would be good on the Splatling. Like, it's actually one of my favorite subs in the game, in Splatoon 1, and mostly because you can use it as a distraction. For one, because you just put it like high above a zone or something, like on Moray, for example. Or you can just kind of throw it into the middle of the battle. Somebody just starts to fire at it. Your teammate can go in and kill them. So
Yeah.
And then, do you have anything to say about that, Bryan?
I'm not really much of a, I guess, like sprinkler user, like spelling user or anything like that. So I don't know. I don't have that much experience with it, to be honest. The only thing I've seen or played was when I watched the Open and stuff like that. And I think it would be pretty decent. You can do some gear combos with it and stuff. So
I don't like the change to it where eventually it does self-destruct, which I'm not sure why they made that change. I thought sprinklers were fine just the way they were. It's not like they were like super OP and they were complete game changers or anything like that.
One thing I'm wondering is like if thermal ink will apply to it. Like, let's say you throw a sprinkler and then you have thermal ink equip and it just hits someone random person if it applies there.
I think the description for thermal ink says when you shoot an enemy.
Oh, okay.
So
I feel like if you just have ink, if you have ink on them in general, you'll be able to see them.
That'll just
That's
be
how I
something
think
we
it
learn
is.
when we play it.
Yep.
So the next one. Oh, did you have something?
No. I could say it at the end.
Alright, well, for the next weapon I see here, we have the Mini Splatling, which has Burst Bomb and Antenna Missiles, which are the Dualies kit. And originally, in Splatoon 1, the Mini Splatlings are actually pretty decent. However, two of them suffer from the fact that they share the Splattershot kits. And then the Zimmy, it finally has its own individual kit, and its kit was just way too good. The minis themselves were already decent weapons that people just didn't care to use, but it was the one with its own individual set that made people realize that the weapon was decent. Without the Zimmy's kit, the weapon is still good, just that no one wanted to play it because it wasn't as easily versatile as the Splattershot. And when I saw this, my first instinct was, oh crap, it has the Splattershot build again. Because in the original test fire, the Splattershot had Burst Bomb and Antenna Missiles. But I realized that it shares a kit with the Dualies, which is a lot better than sharing a kit with the Splattershot. Where with the Splattershot, it was like, the Mini has like a range advantage and a cover advantage over it, and that's pretty much it. Where with the Dualies, I could see people legitimately using Mini over Dualies because of better coverage, better movement, and so on and so forth. And the Minis were one weapon that I'm planning to mess with myself, and I'm a fan of this kit. I also called, like a few days ago actually, saying that if a Mini had burst bombs, that would actually be really good for me.
Yeah, I find that when I look back at it, like I think if I were to play like Dually or Mini, I'd choose Mini. But I like Dualies because they're unique, and I do kind of suck with Minis. Yeah, other than that, I think it's pretty good that they have a kit that's not shared with the Splattershot, but with like a weapon that actually has an advantage over.
I actually think Burst Bomb is really nice on the Mini Splatling. It's just, in the first game, Burst Bomb Bomb Rush was an okay special. I don't think it's like terrible, but it definitely is a pretty underwhelming special compared to, like Splat Bomb Bomb Rush or Suction Bomb Bomb Rush, since those two other bomb rushes, they crowd control, like they force the other team to disperse if you throw it into an area. Burst bombs, yeah, they can do chip damage to you, but you can still juke like a burst bomb bomb rush. You can still kind of get in on them. Whereas like another bomb rush, you're forced to not traverse that area. So
yeah,
Yeah.
I think. Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say, I think the burst bomb rush on the refurbished mini is what really kept it back. If it had any other special, I feel like it would have been better.
Yeah, I think giving it Tenta Missile, what people say is one of the most versatile specials in the test fire. I think that's a really good change.
Alright, so the next weapon is the Tri-Slosher, which gets burst bomb and ink armor. And I feel like this is actually the better slosher to get burst bombs. I feel like, although it wasn't exactly a mistake, the giving burst bombs to the vanilla slosher kind of gave it a really quick, easy kill at like mid-range. It was essentially a mid-range weapon that had the ability to like essentially one-shot you, but it makes more sense for the Tri-Slosher to have it. It's a weapon that kind of needs the ability to get over and do things, and the weapon, while it can cover very well at short range, it can't do anything at distance, and so it gives this the ability to do something from, a ranged option, and then it gives a quick kill to something that really kind of needs that quick kill at short range. And then the ink armor, I feel like, is going to be a really good special. Not a good panic button per se, but in certain matchups, I feel like it's going to be a good thing to use. And I feel like once again, for something that's short range, to give it like that extra time to stay alive is really good.
Yeah, I think ink armor would pair really well with it. Seeing that it is a pretty short range weapon, having like something that can, I guess, mediate that with, having something that can affect all your teammates and having a sub that can space people pretty well. You can try to do some pretty sick plays with that. Seems pretty versatile, more versatile than a lot of the weapons that I've seen. It looks pretty. It doesn't look like it'd be a good, like, you'd go out and slay with it and get a bunch of kills. Looks like you'd probably just be more of, dare I say it, like a support kind of weapon. Seeing that it looks like people are just going to be trying to get the special ink armor on it and make some plays with the team and using burst bombs to help. Something like that.
I half disagree with that, because I think with the burst bomb, I think you could almost play it like a carbon roller, because it has that spread, like a pretty good spread, and it's a pretty short range weapon too, so you can almost do like a burst cancel combo with it. Although, yeah, it doesn't have like Inkzuka, which, that's what also made the carbon so devastating, is because it has something that can fight at range. It has burst bombs and Inkzuka. This Tri-Slosher, it does have burst bombs, but it does get ink armor, which, like you said, is a support special. So
what made the carbon annoying is it had a good short range option, it had a good mid range option, and then it had a good long range option. And that was put on a weapon that was tied for the fastest killing thing in the game. So it's pretty devastating for that thing to exist. And this is definitely a better weapon to have that sort of, like, I guess, feel to it, I want to say. Like what you said, where you can throw a burst bomb and then slosh, and it's like that, essentially, that it fills the role that a carbon had. It just lacks
I'm
the
not
short
saying
range, or not that it lacks the long range, rather.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's going to be exactly like the carbon. I'm just gonna say, like, maybe carbon mains could feel at home with it. Like, just the way, like, I don't know, we have to wait and see when the game comes out, but just on the face of things, I feel like it kind of has, like, the very offensive capabilities that a carbon could have, just minus the Inkzuka.
Alright, so the next one is the Slosher, which, again, we saw this from E3, Suction Bomb and Tenta Missiles. I kind of understand that they would not, like I mentioned earlier, giving the Slosher Burst Bomb was kind of a mistake. Giving something that was mid-range the ability to, like, give it a good mid-range option, and then just allow it to cover itself. Suction Bomb, I'm not really too good with Slosher, so I can't really say how well Suction Bomb is going to work for that. It's definitely a good option. I feel like out of all the bombs, Suction Bomb is probably one of the higher tier ones, just because like it can stick to walls, so you can like bait people. Like you turn a corner and you throw it against the wall. Where the Splat Bomb, people are gonna like round a corner and see it on the ground or whatever, or it might roll around the corner, so people will see it and back up. Or with Suction Bomb, if you throw it on the wall, people around the corner and won't have time to realize that it's on the wall.
Yeah.
I've done that a lot myself, where I've just like done that and set it up, and people like come to chase me, and it's like, oh, there was a Suction Bomb on the wall there. And then Tenta Missiles. All I'm gonna say, like I don't want to continue to rehash things, but I feel like Tenta Missiles are gonna be really good, and with coordinated play and just being able to VC, Tenta Missiles are gonna provide quick callouts as well as some good coverage, and maybe some chip damage in there a little bit, because I don't expect people to stand still and die to a Tenta Missile every time. So I expect some like slight damage from it at most, maybe a kill, maybe. But it's going to be more useful for callouts and slight damage.
Yeah, when I think about playing the Slosher, I like the way it shoots. Like now, it looks. I think the range got increased supposedly from what I've heard, and I think having like a spacing option like the Suction Bomb can like keep it more of, I guess like a mid-range kind of weapon too. And when you talk about a special Tenta Missile, yeah, it's like a really good special. So I think I'm probably gonna, if I were to play, I'd play it for the Tenta Missile and the weapon rather than the sub really. But the sub can do some pretty tricky shit, because also ink consumption is something that I was thinking, like Suction Bomb with Slosher seems pretty hard, because Suction Bomb takes a lot of ink, and so does the Slosher. So I'd say that if you were to play it, I can see people running Ink Saver main on it to just to mitigate that.
With the Suction Bomb, I think it pairs up well with the weapon that can output a lot of damage, like within a second. Like what does that output? 80 or 70?
70.
70. Okay. I forget how much a Suction Bomb's chip damage does, but that should be enough to actually be a combo, I guess you could say.
I want to say the furthest range is 25. I could be very wrong about that.
Because the Suction Bomb's chip damage range it's pretty large. Like you wouldn't expect it to be that large looking at the explosion, but it's a lot bigger than the explosion, that's for sure. From my experience at least. So I think it could be a nice combo. Like if you're kind of in a firefight, assuming you have a lot of Ink Saver, because looking at this kit, it's a very ink heavy, heavy ink consumption kit. So yeah, you're gonna have to run a lot of sub saver, a lot of main saver, but in a firefight you could just put a Suction Bomb between you and your opponent, probably hit them once, and then the Suction Bomb will finish them off.
Okay, I looked it up real quick, and in Splatoon 1, the minimum splash damage of a Suction Bomb with no damage is 30.
30? Okay, well that's perfect then. This is because the only thing that can mitigate the damage is sub defense. So.
Right, so next is the Goo Tuber, which is the essentially a charger that can hold a longer charge. And it has Suction Bomb and Splashdown. And I don't quite understand this kit. I guess the Splashdown makes a bit sense, because I feel like a charger should have some close range option, and if it's going to be anything, it should be its special. The problem with the vanilla E-liter was its close range option was its sub, and it was a good sub at that. So the E-liters didn't exactly need, like, they could handle themselves at short range if someone flanked them or whatever, and because the sub was really good, they could just kill like that and they didn't have to do anything. Where I feel like the whole point of flanking a charger was to get rid of a huge target, and when that target can easily defend itself, then that's slightly a problem. The custom E leader is different, where it's the only option it has when it's getting flanked is to either go for the shot or have its Kraken. And if you make an E leader or a custom E leader use its Kraken, you've essentially won. You've made it so now the next person is essentially going to get the kill no matter what. And so I feel like this is a good thing for the charge, or for this to have that sort of like, oh crap, I'm getting flanked thing. But the suction bomb, that I don't really get that. I'm more confused about the suction bomb than anything. I can see like they probably didn't want to give it burst bomb again, or like any charger burst bomb again. And then we already see, which we're gonna go over later, there is a Splat Charger variant with wall. So they didn't want to give this wall, so they were already like low on options. But I don't know, I don't see the suction bomb working too well for something that's going to be stationary most of the time.
Kind of reminds me of the Swiffer, but less mobile.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, to be honest, I don't think they showed enough of this weapon. Like, from what it looks like, it seems to have roughly the same charge time as the Splat Charger, which, you know, most people would probably think, well, at that point, if you're not going to hold the charge, why not just use the Splat Charger, right? Or the Splatter Scope. I feel like we're kind of missing something with this weapon. Like, maybe you can move around faster, it might have a faster charge time, it has longer range. I don't know. Like, I feel like we're missing something with this weapon. Either that, or we haven't played enough of the game to really see if the charge holding thing is viable. Like, we haven't played enough of the game yet, because, you know, it's not out, or we've only played one test fire. We haven't seen what it can really do. Like, the only real good example that I've seen, at least, of it was Tic-Tac's video, his little like montage thing which was really crazy, by the way.
Yeah.
So maybe, you know, if he had the Goo Tuber, he could do a lot more stuff with that. But that really is dependent on how much time you really want to put into learning how to, well, in this case, be a flanking charger, because this is pretty much what the weapon is. It's a flanking charger. It's not a main. You're not really a main sniper, is what I'm saying. As far as suction bomb on it is concerned, yeah, I honestly don't get it either. It feels more like a really bad turfing option, to be honest. Like, it does cover a lot of area, but I feel like if it's going to be a lot more aggro, like a lot more aggro charger like they're going for, I feel like, well, you said burst bomb. Burst bomb would probably be out of the question, because, you know, two chargers, Bamboo and E-Leader, already have it. So I feel like it would be better with at least even Splat Bomb, or if it gets a second version, I think Curling Bomb would actually be pretty good with it.
Yeah, because then a curling bomb would help the idea that this is going to be something where you're going to charge it up, then hold that charge and go, like, get into a position where it's going to be useful. And curling bomb would help you get to that point.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, just all in all, I think with this weapon, we haven't seen enough of it yet. Right now, it's underwhelming. It could be something more, but yeah, there's not much to really take from what they showed off in the trailer.
Do you have anything to say, Bryan?
Well, with the Goo Tuber, as much as I would want to use it, I would just say I'd rather use the scope over that, to be honest. And like, scopes, I guess, were more dominant in Splatoon 1, and I don't really see a change in the scope that makes it less dominant. Other than the fact that, yeah, unscoped ones have the ability to charge their shot. But so, like, unless you're really, really dedicated to just getting charge shots, I don't really see the Goo Tuber being that relevant. I could see people running it for sure, on search and maps and stuff like that. But other than that, I don't really see the Goo Tuber doing much. Other than, yeah, being like kind of like, I guess, a gimmick flanking charger. Yeah, if it had like a different sub weapon, it'd be pretty good.
Okay, Okay, so the next one, I feel really bad about this one. It's the E-liter, and it has Ink Mine and Ink Storm. And I don't know, I pray for the people that use E-liter. Ink Mine, despite the fact that you can place 2 now, and it marks people when it doesn't kill, the Ink Mine does nothing for the E-liter. And Ink Storm does nothing for the E-liter. This kit does nothing for the main weapon. I can see Ink Storm as a way to help your teammates, because I know if I don't say this, people are going to call that out. It's going to be good for your teammates, but this is a kit that does not help the weapon itself. And that might be the intention. That might be what they were going for. I could see like an E-liter placing ink mines where people are going to be like their flanks to watch their back or whatever. So like, say you're trying to flank the E-liter and the ink mine goes off. It doesn't kill you, but you get marked, and that way the E-liter knows someone's flanking it. But other than that, it doesn't do much for it. This kit just doesn't do much for the weapon, and I feel like that's probably intentional, and I just feel bad for the E-liter mains.
Yeah. Because maybe that is intention, because when you think of it, the E-liter is a pretty damn powerful weapon. Like, it has a lot of potential. It's only limited by the player's ability to aim and hit shots like consistently.
Thing is with the E-liter though, because there's no damage or anything like that. Like, you'd have to go for, I'm assuming would be just full charge shots on people, and with the kit like Ink Mine and Ink Storm, I don't know. I don't really see it supporting, like you said, Silver. Like, there's nothing really to support the main weapon.
Yeah,
I
feel like it would have been better. I feel like a better special on it, at least in the second game, would have been 10 missiles. If you want to really be like having like a support special with like a sniper, I think 10 missile would have been much better. Or ink armor.
Yeah, I could see ink armor being a good thing, because it's going to be a weapon that's going to sit back. Not the best painter in the world, but it's definitely going to have something that it'll give out to its teammates, which is what the vanilla did well, just like providing echo to its teammates. I could see an ink armor version being good just for sharing that to people, and in turn, that would give the E-liter something that if it does get flanked, it can pop its armor and keep itself alive so it can, escape, or if you're, you got enough balls, you can try and tap shot people. But this straight up just doesn't help the weapon.
I don't know what to think about the ink mine. Like, you pretty much said my thought already, where the only use of the ink mine I could see is just putting it in flanking spots where people pass by and it doesn't kill them, then you see that they're flanking you, you can move and either go kill them or move to a safer spot. But other than that, there's just, I don't know any other reason why they would put the ink mine on the E-liter. Like, it feels more of like a short range charger kind of sub, at least in my opinion.
Right, Brian, you got anything?
Other than what I said, really, about being like not really having anything supportive of the weapon, all I can really see is just it just staying back, which is kind of what you'd expect of an E-liter. But once people get up close, you gotta rely on your ability to aim, or else you're kind of screwed. I guess the ink mine is gonna help, and I think you can lay 2.
Yeah.
So I guess just surround yourself with ink mine, hoping that you don't get killed by shorter range weapons, stuff like that.
Actually, speaking of the ink mine, something I wish they would have done with it is you would have had the ability to detonate it, like on command.
That's what a lot of people were hoping for. A lot of people.
Because honestly, I think that would have been a better buff than having 2 of them.
Yeah, and I don't feel like that would have been too broken either, because the lag.
That was one big problem with the ink mine, was that you'd place an ink mine, you'd see someone like go near it, but it wouldn't explode unless they were like right on top of it. Like,
they
you
had
see
to
it just sit there and do nothing. So, yeah. So like, if you would detonate it, like, its blast radius is pretty big, so like it would have killed them. But yeah, like, it just sits there and watches you die. So
All right,
I don't know.
Adding on to the E-liter thing, when you think about it, like one thing either I think would be good with would be, let's say you equip like Respawn Punisher on it, and then that'd be pretty good. But if you like are running QR, then I think that it'd mitigate it. But Respawn Punisher on E-Liter seems pretty decent, seeing that you're not expected to die a lot or as often, but like the kills you get or like the picks will punish the other players. That's like one advantage I see of running E-Liter.
Right, yeah.
Right, so next up is the scoped and unscoped Splat Charger, which both share Splat Bomb and Stingray. This is, I get the kit's the same as the Splat Charger from the first game essentially, with obviously it having Stingray instead. I feel like Splat Bomb is good because it is a weapon that it's mid to long range. It's not the longest range in the game, but it's still like short enough to still be classified in that mid to long range. And then Splat Bomb is like a good drop and run away thing. Like, I feel like Splat Bomb would have been good for E-Liter as well. And the Stingray gives it the ability to have even more range. The only problem with the Stingray is it just takes too long to kill. That's my only problem with it. I do expect the Splat Chargers to be more prevalent than E-Liter in Splatoon 2. And I don't know. I'm not really too good at chargers myself, though with the first game I was more partial to the splatter scope than I was the kelp. So I'm a fan of the Splat Bomb on it. Stingray I'm not the biggest fan of, but I can see why people would want to use it because it's that insane range that it has, and now you'll get to see people, the outlines of them for a bit before you fire, so you can, once again, it's going to be something you can make calls with if you're in VC with friends or whatever.
Yeah.
The Stingray, I feel like, well, Stingray is pretty much the replacement for Killer Whale, and I think that's what people really liked on the kelp. Was people probably didn't really play it for the sprinkler. They played it for the whale, which, it's crowd control special. So I think the ability to actually like force your opponents to move is good for a charger, to move from hiding spots or safe spots where they can't hit opponents. So although the only problem with that is that with the whale you can continue using the main weapon, whereas a Stingray you can't. And like you said, the Stingray actually takes a pretty long time to kill, so it is pretty awkward to aim as well.
Yeah, during the test fire, I actually looked at it, and the Stingray's kill time is equivalent to the Dynamo's kill time, but the difference is, a Dynamo's, like, you count, the Dynamo has to start up the flick and then flick and kill you. It's that whole time, but that's dealing damage to you. So imagine a Dynamo like winding up for a flick and then flicking at you, but you're taking damage the whole time. That's how long it takes to kill you. And that's just like,
Let's say Stingray, only thing redeeming feature yeah was just the marking. I don't like its time to kill at all. I mean, I guess like if you're like super far behind and you're chilling at your spawn or something, it'd be pretty funny.
That was the intention of it, was to be a long-range offensive special, with the ability to, basically the ability to get picks from anywhere on the map. So I think that was the intention of it. So I think its purpose is pretty good. As far as it on the Splat Charger, I personally would have liked Bomb Rush on it. Like, just keep Bomb Rush, because that was pretty much the Splat Charger's way of protecting itself from flanks, was you could keep out someone that was flanking you with a Bomb Rush. You could either kill them or force them to move back. Unfortunately, all you have now is just the Splat Bomb itself, so... Although I do like the Stingray on it. And speaking of the Stingray, I think it would have been nice on the E-Liter as well.
Alright, well, the next one is actually a variant of the Splat Charger and Splatter Scope. And the icon has the Firefin icon, so I think it's gonna be the Firefin Splat Charger or something. But it actually has Splash Wall and Suction Bomb Rush. So I'm going to assume that these Bomb Rush are just going to be the bomb launcher. So it's going to have Suction Bomb Launcher. So it does have that Bomb Rush, but based on what we've seen with the Bomb Launcher, you are completely stationary, you lack your main weapon, and it's slower. So I'm not sure if it's not going to be a good replacement for the panic, bomb rush, get away from me sort of thing. It's more of like okay, I have this, let me give my team some, allow me to stay back and give my team movement, like the ability to move in. And with the way the chargers work, you're going to be sitting back anyway, and the Splat Chargers already charge special faster than E-Liter. So this is definitely, it's giving a charger the ability to paint, but not be like unfair about how it can paint. And then the Splash Wall, I wasn't too big of a fan of the bento, and I knew a lot of people were actually like excited for it, and then it kind of fell off immediately when people like realized that like it's hard to throw splash walls and be a charger behind a splash wall. But I feel there are some people that did really well with it, like Fumiko does really good with the bento. So I can see this being like his go-to because it will work in a very similar fashion to it. But I don't know. I would probably use the vanilla Splat Charger over this one, honestly.
I believe you actually are able to move during a bomb launcher unless they explicitly said so.
We don't know.
I think in one of there was a video on Twitter where someone was doing Salmon Run. They had a bomb rush or a bomb launcher.
The Salmon Run version is different.
Yeah, but assuming that the specials are kind of the same, he was able to move during the bomb launcher special. So,
well, from what I saw with the Salmon Run, it's not a bomb launcher there. It's the normal bomb rush. Like he was just dropping bombs. It wasn't coming out of the machine. So I'm not sure if that was just like they hadn't put in the bomb launcher yet, or it's going to be a completely different thing on its own. Which, if that's the case, then why would you use the bomb launcher?
But yeah, back on topic of this kit, I think it's really nice. Like when you saw the bento is pretty untouchable with the wall. Like, of course you can flank it, throw a bomb at the wall, and they die. But I think the really nice change to it is the suction bomb rush. I think it's a really nice special. It's very good for splat zones. Like you usually see like higher teams use suction bomb rush, like they run somebody with it because it covers the entire zone really quickly. So, and that's something that most chargers can't do. So I think it's a really different charger, but I think it's a good kit. Although I'm pretty sure a lot of people would prefer the normal one because, like you said, a lot of people don't like using like being a sniper behind a splash wall. So people would prefer the bomb instead, which they would probably gladly give up the special. So yeah, that's my thought on the charger.
Actually, I'm a fan of the bento. I really like using it. By bento, I mean the gimmick for the bento is that it was finally like a charger with a wall. I personally don't see it being used as often. Like Silver said, like people are gonna have a preference, and it's gonna be like the regular Splat Charger. And people that are used to playing with a wall or used to playing with a kind of like unique weapon like that are gonna go to it. But I honestly just go for the regular Splat Charger or Splatter Scope instead of that one.
Alright, so the next one is another one we saw from E3, and that's the Octobrush with Auto Bomb and Inkjet. I've already gone on a huge tangent about how I feel about this weapon and its kit, and I'm just gonna kind of keep it short here. The Auto Bomb disappoints me. I can see its uses, but its general versatility is not there, and I don't like that. The inkjet is okay. I would definitely have to get more used to it. I keep expecting an arc when using that thing, and it just doesn't happen. It fires straight forward, so I'd have to get used to that. But I would definitely just prefer a variant at this point. I'm not a big fan of the auto bomb.
Yeah, I feel like the auto bomb just kind of has the same. When I saw the auto bomb for the first time, I actually felt the same thing when I saw the Goo Tuber the first time, where it just like, okay, it looks good until you think about the fact, like, its disadvantages, which in this case that it can't seek out enemies that are hiding. So I don't know. Maybe we just need to play the game, and maybe it's actually really good. I don't know, but yeah, for the Octobrush in particular, it's a pretty weak sub. Like, the thing that was good about the Nouveau Octobrush was the Splat Bomb could help it. It could help fight at mid range. Like, it could help fight enemies that would outrange you, like, you know, to keep them away, or to use it as a way to get in sometimes. But the auto bomb doesn't explode right away like the Splat Bomb does, so it's definitely not an immediate threat like the Splat Bomb. As far as the inkjet concerned, I think it might be pretty nice for it. Just like I said before, people just gotta get used to the special.
I have nothing really to say about the Octobrush. Mostly
You don't
because
play
I don't
Octobrush.
I don't play it at all. And I don't see myself ever planning on playing it in Splatoon 2. Maybe as a meme, because I like the Octobrush. I just really don't play it often.
It's a nice weapon to play, but I don't know. I'm not sure about this kit. Like, you have to see more of it to convince me that if it does get a second variation, then it's the better version of it. But right now, I don't know how to feel about it.
Yeah, I definitely feel like whatever variant it gets, it's going to be a step up. Unless it gets Ink Mine, then it's going to be a step down, I feel like. But moving on, because I don't want to continue talking about that one, we get the Junior, which has Splat Bomb and Ink Armor. So a very similar kit to the vanilla Junior in Splatoon 1, except now you just don't have your bubbler. And I feel like it's going to serve the very same exact purpose. However, unlike its slight purpose in Splatoon 1, I don't feel like it'll be the best at it. I mean, once the Zimmy came out, Junior basically became, like, instantly irrelevant. It was no longer good at just outputting bubbles, because there was something out there that had actual range and could output bubbles. Yeah. And this is another case where it's like, yeah, it's going to be a good starting weapon to, like, learn how to aim the use of your bombs and your special, but it's just not gonna be it's not gonna be as good as Junior in 1, and I just don't see it sticking around for long, especially because later on we will be discussing more weapons that get Ink Armor that will just fill its role better. But yeah, I don't know, I'm not a big fan of it.
I actually like the Junior a lot. Yeah, I did like to play around with the Junior quite a bit when I was on, basically a few months ago. I just messed around with it a lot. I think it's a pretty nice weapon. It's just, yeah, it's outclassed by other shooters, mostly because of its accuracy. Like, and it seems like the splash is going to be a lot better because you got this Toxic Mist and probably a better special. So the Ink Armor is nice on it. It's gonna have basically the same purpose where you just turf with it to farm the special, and you can use it anywhere. Like, you don't have to be next to somebody to power them up, I guess. But yeah, without that bubbler, like, by itself, it's a lot worse than the Splatoon 1's Junior, simply because people played it because it builds bubble really fast. Not as fast as the Zimmy, but it builds it pretty quick. And it's a pretty nice Splat Zones weapon as well. But without like this is a weapon that requires like a teammate to help you out usually. Like you don't. It's pretty rare that you go into like solo rank or squads or something and you see a junior just by itself single-handedly carry a team. Like you usually don't see that.
Well, I'm gonna have to agree with Tetsu that I don't really like the junior right now because I only liked it because it was a lot easier to, I guess, stay safe and utilize its special, and like I don't, because it has pretty bad range and accuracy on its own, and you don't really see people using the custom junior, and it's kind of seen often as a meme. Yeah, like without an invincibility, really, don't really see the junior, I guess, being popular at all. I guess maybe nostalgia or something, but other than that, yeah, I don't see it being used.
Okay, so the next one is Aerospray, which gets Suction Bomb and what looks like Curling Bomb Rush. So, there's a reason it's called Aero Meme. Like, no, it's not a very fantastic weapon. And they tried to give it a good kit with the PGs, Burst Bomb, and Kraken, and that still wasn't even enough to make people want to use it. There really isn't much they can do to Aerospray to make people want to use it. There really isn't much for me to say about this kit, other than the Curling Bomb Rush would be okay, because then you could get close, but then it's like 90% of the weapons still kill faster than you. So it's just like, there really isn't anything that they can do for this weapon, and so I feel like they've kind of just given up.
I think Suction Bomb is pretty nice on it. I will say a good thing. I'll try to say as many positive things as I can about it before I start talking about like the cons of using it. I'd say the nice thing that Splatoon 2 is going for the Aerospray is that there's no more defense up, so there's no more 6-shot kills, because for those who don't know, I'm pretty sure most of you know, but Aerospray takes 5 shots to kill, like no matter what. Like even with like 3 peers of damage, it'll still take 5 shots, which that's really underwhelming. Even with the fastest fire rate in the game, like even just why not use the Splatling at that point, because that's a 4-shot kill at a longer range. And also, it's not like the Aerospray is accurate either. It's very inaccurate. It's just good for covering turf really fast.
Yeah, only redeeming quality of Aerospray for me is, I used to think it was really cool because it's like, oh my god, it's just like a machine gun or something because it fires so fast. But, in practice, it's really only good for its spread. Gets special pretty decently, but depends if you can stay alive long enough to use it, because that weapon, they even gave it an invincibility in Splatoon 1, and the Aerospray as itself just didn't work.
I'm not sure how they could change this weapon to be a lot better, like maybe just make it a 4-shot kill or something. But yeah, actually that would be a very good buff for it, making it a 4-shot kill, because even 5 shots even with the fastest fire in the game, it's still really slow compared to like Tentatek. Plus, you're not guaranteed to hit all the shots anyway, unless you're like right on top of an enemy. So
yeah, I don't think.
As far as the special is concerned, I'm not sure how to feel about Curling Bomb Rush, because the nice thing that was good about Secret Rush on Carbon was that you could use it to get in and use your main weapon still. But the way that Bomb Launcher works now is that you can't use your main weapon when you activate it, so you can't even use it as a way to get in anymore until the very end of the special.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's a bit of a nerf to like that type of special where you crowd control and you use it to get in with your main and use your main weapon to get the kills.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna end off Aerospray by saying that it doesn't fit the norm with all the other short-range shooters, where all the other short-range weapons kill fast but have no range. Aerospray has no range but doesn't kill fast, and that's what hurts it. So anyway, the next weapon is a variant to the Splattershot. It is the Splat Bomb and Inkjet one. This is probably gonna maybe be used more than the vanilla Splattershot. I still prefer, I still think that I personally will still use the vanilla Splattershot more, just because I feel like Splashdown is going to be, in general, a bit better than Inkjet, until people, you know, get like God tier with Inkjet, where you'll just get sniped halfway across the map. But for like easy matchups, I feel like the Burst Bomb helps it more. So the Splat Bomb, it's not too bad. It's hard to just, you can't really point out cons for the Splattershot, because no matter what its kit is, it's still a Splattershot. It's like the Mario in Smash. It's like, it's gonna be a good all-rounder. There really isn't anything you could really do to make it bad. So there really isn't much I can say other than this is a good kit because it's a good weapon.
Yeah, any you could put any sub, any special on it, it'll still be good. Like, obviously there are preferences. Like, I think mostly it's gonna come down to who prefers what special. Like, if you prefer Splashdown, then you'd use the vanilla. If you prefer Inkjet, you'd use the Tentatek, because I think it is still the Tentatek Splattershot.
It's Aurora Splattershot.
Aurora Splattershot? Okay, my bad.
I think
people would use the second variant because of the specials, because yeah, Burst Bomb's nice, but maybe I don't know, Splat Bomb and Burst Bomb, I don't know, to me they almost feel the same. Like,
personally, I don't really think that they are the same, like whatsoever. Mostly because I like playing around with the Splattershot a lot, and the first variant actually reminds me more of the Tentatek, mostly because it's a lot more aggressive, and I like its kit a lot. I would probably use that one over the Aurora, mostly because, yeah, I'm an aggressive player and I like Burst Bomb combos and stuff like that. And the thing makes it different from the one in Splatoon 1 is that it doesn't have Burst Bomb Rush. So, like, I think the special on the first one kind of helps it up too. And when I look at the Aurora Splattershot, it reminds me a lot about the Wasabi, mostly because of its sub. And like when I play the Wasabi, I don't really play it for the Ink Strike that much, mostly just for the bomb, because I like it's a really good spacing mechanic and a lot less ink consumption than with a Suction Bomb in reference to Splatoon 1. But, honestly, I can see the first variant being used more, mostly because, like I said, it's an aggressive special, an aggressive sub weapon. It can also space a lot better than the Aurora can, but yeah, like Silver said, like the Inkjet, I don't think it's gonna be pretty hard to use, mostly because of like in the beginning. But then when people get like the God tier and start using it like crazy and start like getting really good aim, then I'm probably just gonna be playing the Aurora for the sub because I really like Splat Bomb and Splattershot. It's pretty good.
All right, so next up is the 52, which gets Point Sensor and Baller. Now, a lot of people I see on Twitter are saying that they're holding out that the 52 deco will get Splash Wall, but I don't think they're going to be giving walls to a gal again. I feel like they realized the mistake with that, giving a weapon that kills in 2 shots the ability to essentially stand its ground easily. And this kit kinda screams that. They gave it a sub that really doesn't do much for it. I mean, sure, point sensors have gotten a buff, but in reality, a point sensor isn't going to help a gal. And then the Baller, what was thought to be an invincibility, is now just like, I guess, a flanking maneuver or a surprise thing. I don't really see this being all that good. I still think people use the 52 for the 52. This will probably be like the case where, like the N-Zap 83 right now, where people use the main weapon and the special, and not the sub-weapon. Like an N-Zap 83 never throws point sensors, a Forge Pro never throws point sensors. It's like people use it for the main and the special. And I feel like this is going to be that case. And when it comes to the Baller, it could be good, but there's a startup to it. The blowing up takes forever, and I'm pretty sure it's very audible and I'm almost positive you can push that thing away like with ease. There has like I can't imagine it not being easy to push away. So I don't know. I'd have to see it for myself, but I would definitely say that this is going to be a weapon that if people use, people are just going to use for the main and the special and ignore the sub.
Yeah, like, to be honest, I see myself actually opting not to use my special more and just be using the main weapon a lot more, because when you use the baller, you can't, although you are technically invincible, even though it could get popped and break after such amount of damage. There's certain situations where you'd actually just want to use your main weapon because the 52, depending on like what nerfs it gets and stuff like that, because we don't really know. Like having, assuming it's still 2-shot, like actually just having like a 2-shot kill would be preferable in a lot of situations than like using this pretty jank special. So I don't know, when I think about using the 52, I'm probably just gonna be playing it for the main. And yeah, no one talks about this up with.
Yeah, I mean, when in the end, the 52 gal is the 52 gal. It's pretty much always been a really, really strong weapon in the meta, pretty much all the way throughout Splatoon 1's lifespan. So
yeah, but you could argue that it was a part of the meta because it had Splash Wall. How, like, you don't really see 52 decos, so it's very apparent that it's part of the meta because of the wall. And how would lacking the wall like affect its like it? I feel like the people that use 52 deco will stick to this because they've proven that they can play the weapon with like off the wall. Well, that was a bad joke.
Without the wall.
Yeah, it's like they could
Yeah.
they can play without the wall. And then the people that use the 52 solely for the wall are probably going to opt to not use it, or they may actually put in the time to learn to use something without having to rely on its sub to do the work for it.
Yeah, this kit honestly seems more of like a 52 gal deco kit, where it's more of a support kit, because people would also probably use the 52 deco for zones because, you know, it has ink strike instead of whale. But I don't know what to think about point sensor on it. I think it's weird because it's also not too fast of a weapon. Like, it's like when you run with it, it's pretty slow. Although, you know, usually you see people stack swim speed on it instead of run speed. So I don't know what to think about point sensor. I think point sensor is just it's a sub you could put on just about any weapon, and no one will probably think about it because, well, point sensors just do what they do. They just mark people. Like, they don't really help like a particular weapon or like any particular player. It just marks the opponent and everyone else can see them. So I that's what I think about the point sensors. I don't think it helps any particular weapon. It just does what it does.
Yeah.
For support's sake.
Alright, well, the next one is N-Zap, which gets Suction Bomb and Ink Armor. And during the Junior I said that we're going to go over a weapon that also has Ink Armor. I feel like the N-Zap would be the Junior of this, where the N-Zap has more range, better movement, and thus could cover better. And so if people wanted a weapon that could just output Ink Armor, it would be the N-Zap. And I personally prefer Suction Bombs a bit more than Splat Bombs, so this already gets, you know, some more points in that department. But I feel like this would be the weapon people use for like outputting Ink Armor. And while I've never really been an N-Zap user myself, like I don't even think I have like, too much ink on it, any of them, I definitely feel like this is probably one of the better kits the weapon has gotten. Even in, like, counting Splatoon 1, this is probably one of the better kits.
Yeah, I'd see that. Like, I think it'd probably have a pretty high special gauge, like, seeing how fast it turfs, like, it'd probably be in the 180s and stuff like that. Because it turfs pretty well. Like, I don't think it'd be able to get ink armor as easily as other weapons. But, I mean, but it does cover, like, a crap load of turf, so yeah, it could probably get it easily. So, yeah, I feel like Ink armor is pretty good to like be able to compete with Splattershots and stuff like that. Assuming that you don't take any damage or anything like that, you could make it a lot more even since the N-Zap shoots a lot faster than the Tentatek. But takes I think a slightly more time to kill based on how many shots it gives.
4 shots.
Having ink armor helps a lot, making that T-Tech or I mean that Splattershot just having to spend an extra few frames trying to kill you because of the ink armor, and then definitely that gives the N-Zap a lot more time to kill you and gives you an advantage. As for like personal use like of the ink armor and just like it having like such a supportive special, like when I look back at Splatoon 1 and see like the N-Zap with the echo, I personally find that one actually pretty good of just like popping out echoes like a lot, and it's pretty offensive with its spot bomb. Not the best one, obviously. I think the best one of Splatoon 1 would be the Kraken one, mostly because of the Kraken and its ability to get it really fast. But yeah, I think this special is really good for it, and probably I'd see it being played a lot because of it, and sub weapon's pretty nice too. So yeah.
Yeah, I was a bit of an N-Zap user myself, so with the absence of defense up, because what I used to do in Splatoon 1 was I'd use defense up to help match myself better against Tentatex, but since that's gone, I feel like the ink armor is gonna help it out a lot. Like it's basically kind of like that replacement for defense up, because yeah, it does fire faster, but again, it takes a few more frames to kill than the Tentatek does. So the ink armor is definitely going to help match it up against the Tentatek, like you said, Bryan. But
yeah,
as far as the suction bomb concerned, honestly, I would have been fine with Splat Bomb. Like both subs are fine. I do think it's kind of weird that they gave it suction bomb, but I don't. If Tentatek mains in the first game really like that suction bomb, then you probably see them using the N-Zap then, because well, since Zuka's gone, well, you're gonna have a new special to work around, and I feel like a lot of people are gonna go towards that ink armor because, you know, it's a pretty nice special that helps everybody out, including yourself. So.
All right. So next up is the Pro, which we saw at E3 yet again. Point sensor and ink storm. This is basically, it's kind of like the Forge kit. And going back, nobody uses point sensors. Like, rarely do you actually see people throw point sensors. Mostly because in a general use, callouts are better, and throwing point sensors has its purpose for scanning areas. But for the most part, if you have teammates that are going to be making callouts, you are going to know where people are, where people have been, and so the point sensors don't really serve a purpose outside of being like playing solo, where no one can make callouts. So I'm not a big fan of point sensors. The ink storm, it's all right. From what we've been told, ink storm doesn't actually kill, and its coverage doesn't look all that great. But the thing is, the Pro isn't exactly like the best painter anyway, so Ink Storm, I guess, at least assists the weapon in some ways, where it can give it some area to move in and give it like some surroundings. So if it gets into a bad situation, it already has turf and an area to move around in and maneuver around. Where, like I said, the weapon itself isn't the greatest painter. It has like no spread and shoots in a straight line. That's like one thing that kind of hinders it, is its inability to really paint all that well, and this can kind of help it. The only problem is it's relying on its special to cover it, which isn't all that great, but you know, there's always a variant that's possible.
Well, since it's a returning weapon and it's getting the same sub, there's not really much else to talk about it except for the ink storm on it. A lot of people like the Forge because, well, it had Zuka. It was basically a longer range Tentatek that moved slightly slower and painted less. It just didn't have a bomb. I already said what I think about point sensors, so I'll talk about the ink storm a bit. The The Ink Storm, it says it can't kill, but I think there was a clip in the World Invitational. Yeah, I said that right. There was a clip in that where one of the Japanese players actually did get a kill with the Ink Storm, and it said you got splatted by the Ink Storm, but I'm not sure if that was just like in that particular version of the game, or they're gonna change that, or how much damage it actually does. But it seems more of a special just to like cover a particular area. Yeah, like that's what it does. It just covers a particular area and supposedly just keeps opponents out of its circle of effect, because you can see where it's actually raining on the map. The only thing I kind of don't like about it is that I feel like its movement is kind of random. Like, it does move around. I would have preferred it to have just a slightly larger circle, but it doesn't move. So you could just put it on top of the zone and maintain a zone while you're fighting in it or something.
Yeah, I was thinking about the Ink Storm itself. Yeah, it doesn't really look like it covers that much. I think I said that earlier, but it looks like it's just like little sprinkles just around to like get you out of get people out of there and stuff like that. And I kind of find it weird to see it on a forge or something like that, because I guess it reminds me of like the Splattershot Pro when it had like ink strike and stuff like that. So other than that, I don't really have much to say about it. Don't really have that much experience with pros or anything like that. So yeah, I think Ink Storm is pretty interesting though on the weapon. Point temperatures I don't really mind. It's not that it's not an unfamiliar sight.
Alright, so we're getting to the final three weapons here that we got to see. And this one is the 96 Gal. It has Sprinkler and Ink Armor. And this is actually a kit that I'm a fan of. I was planning to use the 96, and my ideal sub for it would have been a bomb, but Sprinkler is good still. Especially because we're moving back to a point where having actual coverage will be very vital rather than being a zombie. So having something that can paint for you is good. And then the weapon, the 96, like without damage and defense, assuming the 96 will still do 52 damage, that's a good thing. It's a long-range weapon that can two-shot, and the 96 has relatively decent coverage. It's not like the world's best painter, but because of its like inaccuracy and its RNG, or it's like, you know, it actually helps it cover its ground a little bit better than let's say like the Pro, for example. And the Sprinkler giving it coverage as well on like another side. And then the Ink Armor is just another good thing, where it's like, because of how inaccurate the 96 is, say you're in a situation where you've already missed, like you hit one shot, but you've missed like your next two shots or whatever, you can start using your Ink Armor to ensure that you can finish off your opponent. And so I can see this having a higher requirement for Ink Armor, just because it has a coverage based kit. So if I had to guess, it'd probably be like 200p to get Ink Armor. But I don't know, I'm a fan of this kit.
Yeah, but it reminds me of the vanilla 96 a lot, mostly because of the Sprinkler, obviously. And I actually like the vanilla 96, and I played it quite a lot during this one Splatfest that I did, because it's like she's really good at turfing because of like the added Sprinkler effect and stuff like that. So I don't really see myself using it that much, because I like shorter range things, but I could see how Ink Armor would be really good on it and be able to basically act as both this kind of more supportive and make some plays too. One thing that kind of I guess like turns me off about the weapon would be, like, again, there's no damage up, so if they keep the same amount of damage for the 96, it's just gonna be a 3-shot like every time. I mean, no, 2-shot. Never mind. Oh wait, no. Never mind.
Yeah, 2-shot.
Yeah, it'd be 2-shot, but it'd be like really low damage, like, because I remember before like Fall Off 96, before patch would always be a 2-shot, but like now if like you get Fall Off with it, it'd be a 3-shot. And then
I'm sure it'll have some major fall off considering there's no way to protect yourself or reduce the damage from it. Because when you think about it, pre-patch, 96 Scout Deco had everything. It had a wall to protect itself. The weapon itself was nice, like 2-shot kill, decent range, pretty good, like not like great, but like pretty good carving ability, and it had Kraken, which is an invincibility. In this game, well, since there's no defense up, we can definitely see people going back to the 96 Scout for the main weapon itself. Simply because, you know, there's, like, you can confirm those 2 shots now, like with no fall off and stuff. I do like the sprinkler on it, because that helps it get its special a lot, which in the previous game is Echo, and while Echo is nice, it seemed kind of underwhelming on the 96, which is a weapon that's supposed to kill very quickly. In this game, it gets ink armor, which, you know, it definitely helps it in a close range fight where you're kind of like, well, if you're getting flanked or attacked or something, because the way the RNG works, you don't always get those. Sometimes you don't even land a hit at all, whereas, you know, sometimes you just immediately land the first 2 shots you fire. But yeah, the ink armor is definitely going to help you swing things in your favor without being too, like, overpowered like the Kraken was, because, you know, the Kraken, you could just pop it, you immediately turn all the favors to you, and yeah, that's it. But I think the ink armor is going to be very balanced for it. It got Sprinkler to build it up very quickly, so I would see this particular kit of the 96 going, it's going to do things in the meta.
Yeah.
Especially for zones, I'd say.
Alright, so next up is the Jet Squelcher, which has Toxic Mist and Tentamissiles. I'm not gonna say much about Tentamissiles because we've already gone over that in quite a few times already. I feel like Toxic Mist is actually a good sub for the Jet, because one thing this Jet suffers from is a really long kill time. And so having the ability to slow down their targets if you get them stuck in the Toxic Mist, it makes it easier for you to line up your shots and hit them and actually get kills out of it. The weapon is pretty accurate, so you really have to be pointing at them to get the shots on them, where the only deviation is like near the end of it. So that's one thing it suffers from, and that's why people use the custom Jet, because you can minimize the amount of shots you have to actually land by throwing a burst bomb. The vanilla Jet, I thought, in Splatoon 1 is decent, but because it has to pretty much rely on always being able to land all the shots, it just wasn't on par. But this will actually help that, where like having the wall in the first one only like slightly gave you a chance to still stay alive and contribute and try to land shots. This actively punishes your opponents and makes it easier for you to land shots. And I feel like that's a really good thing for this weapon to have, just to, you know, like I said, just actually be able to kill people. So I'm a fan of it. Tentamissiles are good. You couple Toxic Mist with Tentamissiles, I think that's really good. So I could definitely see the people that used custom Jet switching and actually using this. I could see it.
Yeah, what's interesting about it is like you can actually throw like a Toxic Mist, like you're saying, and like hit accurate shots. And I could definitely see Jet users just like throwing Toxic Mist, and like anyone who just happens to be there like go through it, like, you know, that Jet's gonna be just camping that spot and just shooting into it. And you probably, if you land, it's like a trap. Like if you land in the Toxic Mist or you get stuck in it, like you're probably dead, because the Jet is just gonna be looking at that spot, seeing that. Because it's hard, like you said, it's really hard to get kills, mostly because people move around a lot and like are able to dodge like the last few shots and stuff like that. But if you get stuck in Toxic Mist, you're just like, oh crap, and you just gotta get a rain of bullets either from the teammates and for the Jet Squelcher. Like that Jet doesn't even have to like hit you or anything. It's legit surround you with ink and Toxic Mist, and you'd kind of be screwed over, and teammates be able to pick you off. And again, like having like a really good special like that just makes it pretty good. I'm not necessarily a fan of the Jet Squelcher. I played it at one point, and I didn't really feel it that much. But I could see other people using it, and you could see it being like a threat in like zones, definitely, or tower control. Yeah.
The Toxic Mist in particular, I think is a really nice way to balance the Disruptor. Because, well, the Disruptor, if you get hit by it, there's no way to defend yourself. Unless, well, because most weapons with Disruptors that were in the meta for Splatoon 1 had an invincibility. Mainly the Zimmy. Which, you know, the Zimmy, there was no way you could push that thing back. Like, its range was too good, and it was too fast. So, with this game, you can actively dodge a Toxic Mist. Like, as soon as you get out of it, like, you're pretty much kind of back to normal. So you can get away from someone who throws a Toxic Mist at you. But that's not to say it's a bad sub. We pretty much saw it in the tournament, the E3 tournament, where it's really good for stalling a checkpoint. Because nobody wants, let's be honest, no one wants to get disrupted. So you throw it at a tower on a checkpoint, you pretty much just drive away all your opponents from getting on it, and they pretty much have to wait until it goes away. So it's a really good way to stall time at a certain point, or at like a choke or something, or on an objective. As far as it on the Jet Squelcher, I think it is nice because it's going to be good with sub power up, which in this case would be the equivalent of bomb range for the Toxic Mist. It's going to be really nice for it because it's going to be a very good spacing tool for it.
Alright, and then the final weapon, it's the Luna Blaster, and it has Splat Bomb and Baller.
God.
And everyone in the world dislikes the Luna, and they gave it something that's quote-unquote an invincibility. Now, I could see a way that they're going to balance this is Luna might actually require a lot of ink to get Baller. Like how they gave the Luna Neo heavy depletion, like the second depletion levels existed. I could see this being like having the equivalent of heavy depletion. So I could see it needing like 240p. Like, it might not be that extreme, but I could see it going that route, just to make sure that, like, you have to stay alive, you have to contribute to painting to actually have this. And a lot of people were not fond of the fact that the Luna got the Splat Bomb in the first place, because then it gave a weapon with no range, no range that had a fast kill time, the ability to space itself and give itself some coverage again. And that's why a lot of people hated the Luna Neo when it got announced. And while I've never really been a Luna hater, like I've never been like on that bandwagon of this weapon needs to be banned or whatever, I could definitely see this kit being good, and I definitely feel like people will use the Luna a lot more than any other blaster at this point. Unless the range blaster has a really good kit, I definitely see blaster mains falling back to the Luna, and this kit is definitely a good one for that.
I think this Luna Blaster isn't going to be as devastating. It's not going to be like a huge meta changer. And seeing that, like the blaster changes, it's probably not going to do as much damage as it did before, because I'm pretty sure Splatoon 1, without any damage, like any like close indirect shot is like, I mean, yeah, close indirect shot's like about 70 or close to 80, and like that's honestly ridiculous. But seeing that Luna does have a chance to be able to 3-shot kill, which would definitely nerf it a lot, and I do see it still being used like a lot, because it's what people are familiar with, and just like they don't want to drop it and stuff like that. A lot of Luna mains that play it, definitely gonna be seen in tower control for sure, like around checkpoints and stuff like that. I think the Splat Bomb, I kind of had a problem with it before, but you know, you get used to it at one point. And the Baller, I'm not even worried about. I think the Baller isn't really going to help it that much. Seeing that, like you said, it might be just take a long time to get. And I'd rather be using the main weapon Luna than the baller, because that probably would be killing faster than the baller.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure in the second game, like, the people who pretty much use Luna all the time, like they main Luna, they're gonna be as destructive as ever, because, you know, they usually don't get their special. They die a lot. But, yeah, because considering it does have Splat Bomb again, like, and there is a bit of a nerf to it where you said it can now potentially 3-shot. But I still think, like, the weapon itself is just going to be about as destructive as ever, because it has a, like, in the end, that hitbox is gigantic. And with an mostly online game, like, that's definitely going to benefit the player. So, as far as the special is concerned, I don't know about the baller. Like, I think it's probably gonna, if it's as good as Nintendo makes it out to be, then it's, yeah, like you said, Silver, it's gonna take a lot to charge it up. But I don't know. I think the Lunar Blaster will still be prevalent in the meta. It's probably not as good as before because of the changes to quick respawn, the changes to its damage. But, you know, Lunar Blaster is a Luna. It kills you from 90 degrees away, so I still think it's going to be a good weapon to use in ranked battles as a main Slayer weapon for sure. I could definitely see it on Respawn Punisher.
Alright, well, we've gone on for a bit, so I think we'll jump to this last part where now we're just gonna give our thoughts on what we think the start of the game is going to be like meta-wise. So I'll go off first. What I expect to see is a lot of respawn punish. I expect to see that be very common, not because people want to like punish each other, more so as like people thinking that they're slayers. The respawn punisher is going to make people respawn longer, and it also affects you, but it benefits people that can kill and not die. And so I feel like there's going to be people that'll use it because they think they're slayers, and then they'll learn that they were only slayers because they just went in and played zombie. I also expect quick respawn to show up very often. And despite the changes, I still feel like it's going to be very applicable in certain modes, like Tower Control and Rainmaker, and on certain weapons, like the Luna and Dynamo are still going to wear it, because those are weapons that may not actually go a life with a kill. Like, there's a potential that they'll just die, and die, and die, and die. So I expect that to be very common. I also expect the movement speed meta to come back. I expect a lot of run speed and swim speed everywhere. So, in terms of abilities that I expect, within the first few months, I expect to see Respawn Punisher, Quick Respawn, Run Speed Up, and Swim Speed Up to be the common ones. For weapons, I expect the norm for what people played in the first game to return. I expect the average comp to be a Splattershot, a Luna, a 52, and a Dynamo. Those are probably the most common weapons that are going to show up. Just weapons that essentially exist in this game and that are okay regardless of what kit they get. Like people say that they use the Tentatek because of Suction Bomb and Ingsuka, but if you told a Tentatek main to play like the Splattershot or the Wasabi, they do just as fine. Like the weapon, the kit doesn't matter for the weapon. The Luna, the kit doesn't matter for the weapon. The Dynamo, the kit doesn't matter. 52 is like, I could see people using that simply because of still the quick kill time, and those are probably the most common weapons I'll expect to see. And as for how long it'll take for that to go away, maybe a few months. I don't know. Maybe like the first month or so is going to be very experimental. I feel everyone's going to be trying everything, everyone's going to be using everything, and then say month 2 rolls around, people are going to be stuck in something, and people are going to be enforcing something, like they're going to be saying, oh, you should be using this instead of X or whatever, and it's going to be like that for a little bit. Which, like, the first meta in Splatoon 1 wasn't around for very long either, which is why I expect it to shift very fast as well.
When I think of like the early meta for Splatoon, I actually agree with like a lot of the stuff you say. About Respawn Punisher for sure. Like a lot of people are gonna be chilling with theirs. I can see some dualies with Respawn Punisher and stuff like that, and definitely Luna's with Respawn Punisher. A lot of things that abilities that I see other than Respawn would be definitely Ink Res. Just like stackable Ink Res. I'd probably see some people from Splatoon 1 be trying to run Stealth Jump. It's not going to be as prominent as much as like probably the dodge roll, I'd say, or yeah, stuff like that. And weapons wise, I do just, yeah, it's just seeing like the basic kits, like, you know, things that people are comfy with, like 52, you know, Luna. I don't see any chargers really being played at all. You'd have like the oddballs be playing it, and then for shooters, definitely going to be the Splattershots. Going to be a bunch of dualies for sure. Rollers, I do see people playing this the regular one. Probably not going to be that much. I don't really see people play the Octobrush either. A lot of the weapons shown, I don't think that they have like the kits. Like they obviously don't have the kits that they do in Splatoon 1. That probably just like makes people not want to run anymore. So yeah, they're just gonna go with stuff that they're familiar with. So yeah, Luna 52, stuff like that. And I do see a lot of Ink Res being used though, and just like a lot of the shoe specials trying to be abused and stuff like that. I mean, shoot abilities. So yeah, and it's gonna be pretty basic. I can see some QR, but other than that, it's not gonna be bad. I don't think. Just some early meta stuff while we're trying to figure out their niche.
As far as early meta is concerned, I think, well, like I said, Respawn Punisher is probably the ability a lot of people are excited for, because, you know, if you're the type of player that, you know, gets over 15 kills a game, then yeah, you're gonna obviously run this ability because, you know, you're getting rewarded for all your kills. But in turn, people that also die a lot, they're not going to benefit from it at all, because maybe you don't think it holds you back, but it holds the team back because they don't have you in the game. So yeah, I still see quick respawn being used. It's become more of a support ability because, you know, Dynamos, now they can, if they were to run a lot of quick respawn, they could just, you know, sit back and paint. And if they die, then, well, they can come back as quick as ever. But, you know, if they're just sitting back not getting kills, then they don't have to worry about the whole, like, if you kill someone, you don't get the quick respawn benefit. Run speed and Ink Res, I'm going to talk about the at the same time, because Ink Res in this game, a lot of people notice in the test fire that you move extremely slow and you take a lot of damage when you're stepping on enemy ink. Like, that was a pretty big change that everybody noticed. So I think Ink Res will be a very big part of the meta for a really long time, until probably people get better at the game, people figure out how to move around and stuff with all the new weapons. But as far as weapons are concerned, you know, Splattershots are going to be the same. I think chargers are definitely going to fall off with the absence of damage up. I think short range chargers will be pretty much the same. Like, short range charger mains like Bamboo or Squiffer, I feel like maybe Bamboo, but Squiffer mains definitely haven't changed at all, since, well, you have to fully charge anyway to get a kill. But I feel like long range chargers definitely going to be falling off because you can't get any more partial hit kills, and we haven't even seen the second E-liter kit yet. So yeah, that's going to be a pretty big loss, unfortunately, for charger mains. Splatlings I can see being a good replacement for chargers, simply because they have that range, and assuming the Hydra comes back, that's going to be very nice for chargers who don't like the new change to the charger. I can see a lot of people liking the Tri-Slosher, simply because it has burst bomb now. It has a better sub to help handle itself close up, and it has ink armor, which is this quote-unquote invincibility in this game. I guess the dualies I can't really say for sure. Like, I feel like if people really put some time into it, it could be devastating, but right now I can't really say where the dualies are gonna go, because it's a new weapon class. No one really knows how to handle it well, like, despite, you know, top players probably sometimes, like, well, not really even just top players, like probably just anybody bragging about KDs or something with the dualies. But in reality, you probably don't at high level play, you probably don't know how to use that dodge roll. Like, you probably dodge roll and die. Like, you're not invincible during the dodge roll. So I don't know, it's a weird learning curve. I feel like this game, everything has a learning curve now. Like, all this, pretty much most of the special weapons, most of the main weapons, most of the subs, everything has a learning curve now, and it's gonna take a whole month for people to get used to what they feel is good or what they like to play, and for the next 2 or 3 months we're gonna actually see the meta start to form. So that's what I think.
All right, well, I guess we're just that was pretty much it. This has gone on for quite a bit of time. If people are actually still watching this at this point, then I applaud you, because we are coming up on 2 hours actually.
Oh my god.
Damn.
So I wanted to end this by saying that for the Splatfest test fire, you can expect to see a video on that, because we plan to play both the Japanese one and the North American one. We're hoping that you can squad battle in the test fire, and in the event that we do, we are planning to make a video that shows all 4 of our points of view. So the 2 people here that are joining me, Bryan and Tetsu, also have switches, and then Tyler, another teammate, also has a switch, and we are the only 4 on the team that have the system. So we 4 are going to be playing the test fire together, and I will be recording all of that, so there will be footage of the test fire regardless if I can squad or not. And I am considering recording the voice chat as well. I don't normally do that for any of my videos, but I'm debating recording the voice chat as well, so people can listen to what we talk about during matches and all the tangents we come up with. And then I'm thinking either making 2 videos where the best of matches, so I like pick out what matches were very good, and then releasing an uncut version, so like the whole like 4 hours of me playing, essentially, if people wanted to watch that, you know. So expect to see those. I normally people would say thanks for showing up, but we're just sitting here in our team chat, so if you want to check out Bryan and Tetsu stuff, I will link their Twitters below, so I suggest you go check out their Twitter and their Twitch. And Bryan, I think, will be streaming the Splatfests, so if you want the early in-depth look, I suggest you scroll down below and follow his Twitch. And yeah, so thanks everyone for watching and enduring this 2-hour rant, and I hope everyone, I'd like to hear people's thoughts on things, so if you've survived this long, I don't know, just say you survived in the comments. I'd really like to know how many people actually made it all 2 hours. So thanks everyone for watching.
Should come up with a code name.
Well, that's what it is. If you've gotten to this point, you're listening
not
to me.
I survived, you survived.
Yeah, just point out that you've made it this far. But yeah, that's it. So thanks everyone, and I will see you all later.